my fellow Americans, are we reaping our harvest of greed? Have we built our house on sinking sand? Why are we being ugly Americans?
Welcome to Update Friday, Weekdays Live. This is CJ Holmes, your host for the show today, bringing you news, everything that's happening right now in the news, plus updates about activism, what's going on in the country, around the country, as people are fighting back and generating proof. We're really working towards actually breaking through the fog and smoke that these banksters have done. But let me warn you, just like William K. Black said, and I showed that video a while back, it's linked on the website, the fact is this is rolling fraud, okay? They started the fraud with MERS and then the toxic loans, the ones that were designed to blow up and ruin everybody. They did that. We bought into it hook, line, and sinker. We're all just victims in this massive fraudulent scheme. Then, of course, the fraud rolls now into foreclosure crisis. So we're going to talk today about how what does the fallout look like on that? And I hope I don't cry, because every time I watch it, I get pretty teary. And then we're going to notice how I'm going to start right here. The fraud is rolling, and it's going to be rolling into more and worse, even worse stuff, if you can imagine this. Mark my words, it's tied in with the Cyprus and the bank bailout. And so I want to start there. And then we're going to hear from some live guests today, sharing with us what they've been doing, what's on the plate, what kind of success they've had. And also I'm going to be sharing a lot from the mailbox, because a lot of people just can't make it quite at this time, but they'd love to have their stories shared. So pay attention to this. This is the House committee. Democrats are voting to deregulate derivatives. Now, this article is pointing out how these are the guys that voted with the bank and against the taxpayers. And this is HR, House Resolution 992. This is federal level. And they're talking, here's a phone number for, this is a freshman that's been elected. They're really surprised that she's siding with the banks. And you'll note that the whole vote was 31-14. So the 6 Democrats could have voted no. They could have voted no, and the motion would still have passed. So why did they vote when their votes weren't needed? This editor feels that this is a request for campaign funds from bank lobbyists. And this is the problem. This is the problem. Money is buying off our representatives, without a doubt. Now, they're talking about this being a major under-the-radar story. And this is where the House Agriculture Committee, including its Democrats, voted just this week to gut Dodd-Frank regulation of derivatives by approving a series of 7 bills. And as you read through this, and as we've already talked about, these banks have, just 2 of them have like $75 trillion in derivatives. And I just wanted to touch base real quickly before we get into the foreclosure crisis, because the fact is, our crisis in foreclosures is going to continue. Lots and lots of people have already suffered and been ruined, and we're going to hear about that today. But this is coming down the pike, and this is where I want you to understand what they're doing with these derivatives. This is how it works. Credit default swaps. Now remember, that's AIG got bailed out, and they had done credit default swaps as a type of insurance with the banks. So that was the first pulling the money out of our taxpayer pockets to bail out AIG. Oh, by the way, at 100 cents on the dollar for the banks. And so here they're talking about them. They're pure casino bets. Now listen to this. It's a simple concept, but these credit default swaps soon evolved, and it turns out you don't even have to have anything that you hold, like the bonds, actual bonds, to insure. You can just know that they're there, and then you can buy insurance on them. So this means, I'm going to read this to you because it's just truly outrageous, and I think it's so well said. This means that one guy can sit at a table with a bunch of bonds or bundles of mortgages, okay, while another guy can insure them. Meanwhile, at 50 other tables, 50 more guys can buy that same insurance on the same bonds from anyone who will sell it to them. Keep in mind, only the first guy actually holds the bonds. The other guys just know they exist. That's 50 side bets on one set of bonds. Placing side bets on someone else's property is like betting on a ball game you're watching. It's just a pure bet. But here's the problem. You see one guy's bonds default, and suddenly everybody in the room who sold insurance is wiped out. Because the dirty secret of derivatives bets is that the people offering the insurance, they don't have the money either. They're betting they can collect insurance fees forever and the defaults will never come due. And that's what happened in mortgages. It's as simple as that. We have allowed, because of Glass-Steagall, and they got rid of that law, so now the banks can gamble. They can make loans and they can gamble with those loans on Wall Street. And that is the problem. It is all about the money. So let's take a quick look. Let's step back a bit. And I want to show you a series of some videos and some articles about the fallout of the foreclosure crisis. That's already happened. So as we look back at what has happened and we document that so that you can share that with people, this is what's going to happen, and it's going to happen to everybody. Just take a look at Cyprus. We just saw that earlier this week. They want to confiscate the money in the banks on savings and checking accounts. Money that people had already paid taxes on, have put it in the bank so that they can use it in their daily commerce. And now they want to steal that. So you mark my words. If you think the foreclosure crisis was bad, you watch out. I swear to you, this will ruin the planet. This will cause a revolution. We must stop it before it does. Here's some folks in Portland.
The next door house, our house, the house across the street, the house 3 doors down, and the house around the corner were all in foreclosure. All of them.
Tomorrow, they're going to auction off my house, my 5 acres here. I'm scared about my situation right now, but I'm also scared about Gerald's situation as he gets older.
Come on, Kiki, come on.
I got to be here to protect him, or make his life as comfortable as I can.
Like, we're gonna have to put all of our stuff in storage and then live with my mom again. I'm 26, live with my mom again.
I never thought I'd be getting help from the state, you know. I never thought
I told myself I would never do that. I would never do that.
I never put that in my head.
I walked into the house and she was sitting in the kitchen in the dark, and I was like, "Mom, what's wrong?" And like she was crying because she just didn't know what she was gonna do for food for the next couple of weeks.
I don't need a freaking hot meal.
You have school tomorrow.
And I can
I don't want you to go to sleep with an empty belly.
I hear them in bed sometimes saying, we skipped dinner because we need to feed our kids. Sometimes when I hear that, I cry sometimes.
For the middle class in this country, we have a one strike and you're out economy. The system that once was in place to cushion those crises has been frayed. The most endangered species in America is the middle class family. And I think we have to be alarmed by that and ask whether that is good policy.
So it's going to be a little rough the next couple days. I'm going to be staying at the shelter I don't know the name of.
People ask me where I lived at school, but I just said I lived in the same place or by that place, so like they wouldn't like make fun because my school is very like judgmental. They'll make fun of you if you live somewhere that isn't regular or normal.
This is where we're at, is people really looking for a safety net that's frayed well beyond what I think most people think.
I've got doctor bills like every day in the mail. I got a $49,000 bill.
I just feel like it's all my fault that you have to pay so much money.
Honey, it's not your fault. You're a kid. Be a kid. Doesn't everything always work out?
No.
I think people still believe in the American dream and want the American dream. I think there's more and more people who are being denied it by the growing income inequality. And they're saying, I work hard, I play by the rules, I see corporate profits going through the roof, and I can't get ahead.
We used to talk about like what we were going to do with our life and our dreams and what we wanted for the kids, and all we talk about now is money.
Forget the dreams. How do we make it to tomorrow?
Right.
Tomorrow's the dream. This dinner is the dream. You can turn the lights on, turn the water on. That's a dream.
Helping a poor family isn't an act of charity. It's converting a family that you have to support into a family that can buy things from your company.
It's not easy. You're a 50-year-old man and you have to call your dad to pay the electric bill.
We've always been a nation that would look out for those that needed help. And for the life of me, I don't understand the response that would say, no, fend for yourself. And that's not rooted in the fabric of America.
I don't want to have like a mansion or anything and like stacks of money like sitting right next to me. I want to have like just a normal house, maybe a dog, maybe 2 kids. I prefer 1.
That's the American dream, right? To not have to worry about money. That's every kid. Like if every kid could say that, then it's just awesome. That'd be awesome.
Once upon a time, America had policies which promoted a strong middle class. Can we insist that we protect families in this country and that we have policies that make sure we're investing in healthy outcomes for them?
I want to go to college. I want to be able to have a good life. And it makes me worry, like, how am I going to be successful? And how am I going to be able to provide for my family? I worry about that every day.
Now are the award-winning producers Joe and Harry Gans. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
The families you profile here, and you really do tell some unique personal stories here. These are families that 3-4 years ago were all doing okay. They were comfortable, and now they've fallen on hard times. Why did you decide to tell that story?
Well, we had seen a lot of films that had been done on the causes of the Great Recession, but very few about the results, the human face of the recession, and that's what we wanted to do, to tell the stories about in this country, almost the majority of the people, they say, are receiving some type of social services or close to the poverty line. So we wanted to tell the story from their point of view, and especially the kids' point of view.
Right. Right. To hear one of the kids say, I know my parents are skipping dinner so that I can have, a warm meal to eat at night. The next question then is, so you all were sitting at this 211 call center. This is in Oregon, where you basically call 211 if you need help. So you're basically picking some of these families. You determine who you want to profile. Obviously, they all have in common this struggle. But beyond that, what else sort of binds all these families together?
So we're listening to calls, and hundreds of calls are coming in each day. Families who can't pay their water, their electricity, they're on the verge of being evicted, health issues, can't put enough food on the table. And then we start working with them, and what I noticed is the stress that these families are under. Not knowing if they have to pay one bill or another, if they're going to be able to take care of their family. The stress is just overwhelming, and there's no quality of life. It's just morning till night, worrying how they're going to make ends meet.
Can I ask about the kids again? Because it's seared in my head. I can't get that out of my head. What's it like talking to these kids? How much do the kids actually understand?
Well, the kids, even though the parents do their best to shield them from the economic stresses they're under, it's impossible to do that. Because if you come home and the lights aren't on and you're trying to study, or there's not enough food on the table, it can't help but affect them. And they grow up very, very quickly. They have to take on adults' stresses at an age when they should just be a kid.
Speaking of the lights not being on, I just want to play one more clip. This is when you're talking to a man not being able to pay his electric bill. Let's watch.
Talking to my dad, he tries to keep my head up. He'll help when he can. This last month, I had to call him up and have him pay the electric bill. It's not easy. You're a 50-year-old man and you have to call your dad to pay the electric bill.
And John has a Down syndrome child that he raises.
So you hear these stories through tears or children, and my next question is, so you have this film, but then what? I mean, it's privately funded grants, correct? Private, private donations. What's the takeaway?
Well, there's so many myths and stereotypes about the families that need social services. They're lazy, they're not trying hard, they made mistakes. This film really dispels that. These are hardworking folks. They've been working since they were teenagers, and they want nothing more than to get some help and to get back on their feet so they can be contributing members again of
We
society.
gotta go, but can I just ask quickly, is there reason for hope? Has anything turned around since you finished filming this for any of these people?
Some of them have gotten into a better situation, but for instance, a lot of them were working at jobs that were $20 an hour, and they got rehired at jobs that were $12 or $13 an hour. The hope is the fortitude that these families have, what it takes to survive in those situations. They are the heroes, and the takeaway is that the hope is in the love they have for each other, and hopefully that the government will come around and fund the social safety net in a way that can help them get back on their feet, because it's a lot cheaper to fund them before they fall into abject poverty than to try to get them out of it.
Well, our hopes are all with them. Joe Gans, Harry Gans, thank you so much for joining us. The film debuts Monday night at 9 o'clock on HBO. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Fighting back.
And I can't define that situation that's happening.
My name is Betty Bobby, and I'm a homeowner for 19 years. Why are these qualifications you're giving me on my mortgage? And I don't appreciate that.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
No, you're not going to touch me. It's illegal to touch people. John, don't walk away. You are hurting a lot of people that own me. Do not touch me.
Got this mic.
I have my rights.
Okay, speak.
I'm an American
Get
citizen.
security, please.
You, all of you, listen.
Cut the AV. Tell your story.
I'm going to tell my story. I've lived in my house 19 years, and Wells Fargo is trying to make sure that I lose my home. And don't touch me.
Security, please.
I want everybody to know that this Wells Fargo are thieves. They're throwing people out of their houses. They're using the short sale so that you can make profits. Get out of my way. This is I will tell my story. I will not lose my home. It's listed for sale for tomorrow. I qualify for a loan modification. The HUD counselor says I qualify. Why are you doing this to me and all the other people?
Okay, you guys. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
No kidding.